Welcome to episode 111 of the 100% podcast with me, your host, Harry Purdy. Today, I am absolutely delighted to welcome to the show Yeovil Town legend, ex-Luton Town FC goalkeeper and ex-Sparta Prague goalkeeper with a cap for the Czech Republic as well, Mr. Marek Štěch. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good. Thank you for a lovely introduction. It was really actually nice. Yeah, I'm really, really glad and happy to do this, answer all the questions and stuff. Obviously, a lot of people are probably curious and stuff. So yeah, let's crack on.
First and foremost, mate, like I said to you before we started the episode, I have had so many people tell me that they're looking forward to this episode from the local area where I'm at, obviously in Yeovil, in Somerset.
Yeah,
So you have left a big old impression on the fans of that football club.
it's been so many years now, but when I look back, what we achieved for the football club and for everybody, just been something incredible. And you will never forget that we made history that season. But even going back, if I really look back when I was still at West Ham United and I needed game time, Yeovil Town was there for me. They took me for months loan, and I think I remember playing. I think it was a month's loan. I remember playing 3 games, and I made a really good impression back then. And then kind of the season finished, and I went on another couple of loans, and then I really needed to decide where would I go with my kind of football career, because it's all good being at first team and sitting on a bench, but you ain't playing in a game, you haven't got any game time. And then in the end they will just tell you, listen, you need to go and get game time, and then they release you, and then you start from the bottom again. So I think that period, just for the months being at Yeovil the previous season, was really important for me. But then obviously then through the summer, obviously got released with West Ham, and then we were looking for different options. But Yeovil was the one who's really stepped up, and then it made a big part. Before at loan it was Nathan Jones, and then later on it was my manager Luton. But yeah, I remember speaking obviously to Gary Johnson and obviously Skivo, Terry Skivington, and Darren Way, and they said, League One club, we are a small club, but we will give you game time and stuff. So that was really important for me. That was one of the things they said. That wasn't about money. It wasn't anything else. I just wanted to have the game time. And they said, listen, come here, you do well. You never want what can happen. So yeah, that's pretty much where the journey started. After obviously the holiday, when I got released from West Ham and speaking for Yeovil, and then remember turning up the Thursday, signing contract. And then, yeah, it was so much different, obviously being a Premier League club, but at the club itself, it's always a family club, and always still now a family club. I think a lot of people, what's been going to Yeovil, it's not very nice for the last couple of seasons, and in a way it disappoints me as well, because lots of different directors and stuff like that. I don't want to go all in the details, but to see back then what when we came in and what we achieved, it was just something incredible.
I think from obviously I'm my first club is Chelsea.
Yeah.
And obviously having spent all of my life in this area and having friends really associated, and even like speaking to many Yeovil players on the podcast, it gives you a real insight into how the club is, how it's run, and really just breaks down into the all football players. They're humans as well, so they go through the same experiences that you do as a fan or somebody who keeps an eye on it. And as you quite rightly say, the change from when you were at Yeovil, 2012, 2013, all those years ago, which is amazing, really, that time goes so quickly, right?
I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah. And then like we're over 10 years down the line, and obviously Yeovil has gone in, unfortunately, the wrong direction since then. But what's amazing is that the club and the fans had such a good impression on you that you can still look back and watch Yeovil with a kind of overlooking eye and keep an eye on what they're doing still.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I mean, it left a huge part in my heart to be in there, and obviously maybe I would have stayed for another year. What circumstances, obviously, when we got relegated in Championship afterwards, but at that time, at the stage of my career, I just get called up for twice for the Czech Republic, and it was a right move for my direction to move on, because then I gone on to play Europa League and stuff like that, which I probably would never do. But going back, I mean, the first season was just something incredible. Like, We were the underdogs, and after a couple, I think I remember the first 3 games we were top of the league, and everyone, oh, Yeovil is going up, and it was amazing, and generated the atmosphere with the players and with the staff, and the season started really well, and then I remember we went like I think 6 or 7 games we lost in a row. I'm thinking, oh wow, this could be a long season. This we might fight for relegation or something like that, but I think we had such a great staff, great people around the football club, great players. I think obviously Gary and Terry and Darren done a good scouting around the football club, which I think every little piece of the puzzle went really well. And it always, when you have a lot of different people and stuff, different players, it takes time. But then slowly, we kind of got together and stuff, and then winning games, winning decent games. And obviously, I think I remember that season. I think we went, I don't know if it was 12 or 13 games. We won in a row. I think we broke a record or something as well. I remember that season. It was just incredible. I think it was like 12 or 13 unbeaten. And obviously through the period, I've saved a couple of pens. I've had a couple of clean sheets. And as the season, obviously you had the Christmas period and the New Year. They're always difficult. Injuries comes in and out. But I think that season was so special. And then we still. I think the run when we had the 12 unbeaten, I really did believe that we're gonna make playoffs. Not necessarily we're gonna get promoted from first, second, or third, but I felt like we're gonna make playoffs and we can do something special in playoffs, which obviously in the end it did happen afterwards.
Yeah, sick, mate. I mean, I'm sure we'll come back to Yeovil later on in the podcast, but one thing that I love speaking to pros around is what their first memories of getting into the game were, and what role models you had growing up. So when you cast your mind back to being in Sparta Prague's academy, what were your earliest memories of that? And who did you when you were growing up watching football, who were the people that you really took, like who you idolized?
I think for me, obviously being in Czech Republic and being really young kid, I always look up to Premier League. I was always my aim to get there, and obviously I had a couple of idols of Peter Cech. It was one of my best. We still kind of now, he's doing lots of different things at the minute. So sometimes we meet and stuff, but I think always looking up to him because what he achieved, he was similar career to me, as in he done all the under 17s and 18s and winning the under 21 European Championship, and that made him move to France, and then he went to Chelsea. So I always look up to Peter Cech. Obviously, I had Iker Casillas because I like his style of playing. A smaller keeper, but the ability and the strength even for that smaller keeper, that dominance in a box and not being scared and playing with his feet. Back then, I look up to players like that, especially goalkeepers. I can name so many, but even if I look at now, been training with Robert Green, Jimmy Walker, they're all the old dogs now, but it's just been, I think I would say probably the three would be Piacek, Iker Casillas, and then Gianluigi Buffon, because I kind of took 3 different style of the 3 different leagues.
Yeah.
So I like the Italian, they done something different. I also like the Spanish, which back then they used to play with the feet all the time. That you normally didn't see too much back then. And obviously Piacek was, just a tall, big Czech wall, and then, he was dominant, come for crosses. So I took from every single one of them, I took something on board for me, and I tried to use it when I was a kid, when I was at Sparta Prague, and you try a lot of things. And even the training, used to look at YouTube and try something different. And I tried to do that all the way.
What do you think of all of those keepers, like unbelievable levels of keeper? And like you say, they all had different strengths. And being a Chelsea fan, as I've already mentioned, Petr Cech's one of, well, if not the greatest goalkeeper to stick on a Chelsea shirt, right? And he's Champions League winner. Yeah. And he came back as sporting director for a couple of seasons when Lampard was there as well. So just like, you can just tell he's a great guy and a great character. But what do you think, especially being able to work one-on-one with him and see him train and obviously be his understudy, I guess, in the Czech Republic national team for a little bit? What was the biggest thing that you took away from him?
I think the most important with him, he was so kind, and even when he was a younger kid, or if we were met, or you're looking at his training or anything like that, he always tried to help with anything. He wasn't arrogant. He was always very open, very helpful, and all these kind of things. He's obviously still doing his goalkeeping coach up here at every year. I think he does it in summer. I see lots of different stuff, and it really reminded me that he always try to help young kids, show them the movements, show them, oh, you should do that, or your hand is at the wrong position, or you should step in the ball and go forward to ball. And because obviously if you look at his football career, I mean, what he achieved is incredible. He's still the most cap for Czech Republic. He's played European Championship, World Cups, and obviously a Chelsea Champions League, and he's achieved so much. But I just think, for me, it was really nice how kind and how helpful he was. Because sometimes a lot of kids are shy and then they are scared to ask. But you didn't need to feel like with him he would do that for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. I think even now, because I'm going to the stage when I'm going to be 34, and I'm kind of doing part goalkeeper, part coach at the minute. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'll try to educate the young kids. I've been a lot of different camps through now this summer, doing different bits and stuff, and I'm trying to educate the young keepers, young kids, and help them out. I think that's the most important.
In regards to goalkeepers, then, you've obviously, as we've just spoken about, we've spoken about the people you admire and training with Petr Cech, Robert Green, other people like that. What do you think are the most common traits that most goalkeepers possess? What kind of characteristics do they have?
I think the most important, I think, when you look at all the surroundings of, we are crazy, basically. Keepers are crazy on just different words. That's what everyone says, it's just different breeds. We just different them compared to the other players. We just got our own little things. We've got our own little GK union, which I think through all the single football club I've been in, always, obviously, there's a competition. Of course, you have to have a competition because it makes you better. And it's not nice always. It's nice and easy. I'm going to play every week, because then you become lazy and then you make mistakes. So I think through all the period and all the football clubs I've been, there's always been some competition. So I think that's really important for you. But I think having that GK union and still got loads. I can name hundreds of keepers. Sometimes we stay in contact and stuff. But that little bubble you've got, you come out earlier before the players. Sometimes they're in a meeting, and then we come out and. We play two touch and play goalie walls and all that kind of stuff, and make a laugh and jokes. And, the players always give you big sticks anyway, or look how bad you are two touching. But I think the most important, I think you've got that little tiny group with the GKs, with your goalkeeper coach and the union with all the goalkeepers. I think that's really special.
Yeah. Amazing. And I think it's always interesting, actually, so I'm fortunate enough to have watched a good level of football with obviously Chelsea, and you always see the keepers go out, and the warm-up's so gradual, right, before a game, no matter what kind of game it is, whether it be a Carling Cup third round tie or first round tie or a Champions League final, it's always the same, right? Like, you go out, you watch them piss about, maybe have a few shots at the goal, and then you see them like gradually get into the warm-up. For you, how important was it that it was kind of a relaxed atmosphere in terms of preparing for a game before you got really close to it?
I think that's one of the things. It kind of make you, switch off a little bit, because we always got that pressure, whatever fans had, they give you stick all game. Some of the older stadiums and smaller stadiums, they're right behind you and you can hear everything. So you're going to have to knock that off your head during the time you're playing. But I think it's really important. That's why sometimes, I used to come out 11 past before the kickoff is 3 o'clock. I used to come out 11 past 2. So you got that 10 minutes of, warm up, stretch a little bit, and then you have a little bit of fun. It could be playing crossbar, you have a couple of shots or quick two touch. That kind of, not just concentrating, because we keepers with the mentality, we are so focused and our brains just constantly just working, this can happen, or I'm waiting for cross, or any kind of solution like this, it can happen through the game. So you have to be switched on for 90 plus 8 minutes anyway. But I think give you that period of time at the warm-ups at 10 minutes, just relax yourself and stuff, and then take a breather. And then when you go in, you got that 45 minutes, a little bit of blast, couple hands, couple angles, crosses, kick in, do everything right, and then you set, and then you go in 10 minutes before, you get changed, and then you are focused and you are set and ready for the game. I think that's what I've done through every single football club. Sometimes in Europe they'll do it a little bit different. They like to go a little bit later, and there's a quick blast. But obviously, all my life, pretty much, I play in UK since 2006. So from all of the period, I just remember always was the same. Always was the same, because they always ask you what you want to do, and then you tell them, and they rather manage the session a little bit, what they want to do as well. But they talk to you with it, and then I was pretty much all the way through the same. I had the same warm-ups, similar warm-ups.
Yeah, amazing. I've got two questions I've got from that then. You mentioned about staying switched on for 90 minutes. And really, that's the same in terms of whatever level of football you play, whether you're an outfield player or a goalkeeper, you have to be switched on for 90 minutes of the game, right? Or at least try to be. But sometimes for a goalkeeper, that's difficult, right? Because especially when you had a good side around you, like when you were at Luton, Sparta Prague, for instance, one of the better teams in the Czech Republic, and even Yeovil, when you got promoted into League One, you had a really good side compared to others. And for 70 minutes of the game, you could be doing absolutely not a lot, right? You could be having a chat with the crowd behind you. But that one moment, like a free kick, a corner comes in, a cross, maybe a little deflection, and you've had to tip it round the post, or make a great save, make a great catch, or come off your line and clear it. What did you used to do to make sure that you were completely switched on, even if you were on top of a game?
I think it's very important what you're saying there. It's quite a lot of people do maybe not about that, because you go through the periods of the game, first 20 minutes might be crazy. Oh, crosses coming in, you're going to have to make decisions, coming for cross, coming out of your goal, coming out of your box. There's one shot, there's the other shot. So it could be crazy for the first 25 minutes, 20 minutes, could be very slow. So could be the first 20 minutes. I remember playing, we had such a really good side, for example, at Luton. And I remember being in League One, and, I touched the ball like 4 times, like 4 kicks, and it's half an hour gone. I'm thinking, right, listen, I need to switch on. So sometimes I remember this is actually, I took it from David James back then, because people used to laugh at him. He used to just make random save, and he'd just dive on the floor when the game was going on, or he would just go down, or he would just go up to like take a cross. I think that's, I'm not saying I took that from him, but that kind of kept me up. And then probably from him, but also I think the important keeping me in a game was talking, constantly talking. Even if you're talking silly, I'll get up, squeeze. It could have been anything, but that keeps you in that game. Even if you don't have a shot, or if you keep screaming and you're moving with the players. Sometimes I think where the game is just going, it goes side to side. If you keep moving, if you're just standing there and you're not speaking, and then ball comes in and you're not even ready, you're not focused. You might be looking around the crowd, or you might be hearing the crowd what they're saying about you, or something like that, and you're not switched on. But when you're constantly moving with the game, when you're speaking loud and shouting at the players, even if you don't have nothing to do, that keeps you in the game. And I found that always helped me. Even I remember a couple of times, it's half an hour. Jesus, I'm gonna have to impress the fans or something. I'm gonna just dive, even if it's just low shot or something, to make myself like feel I'm on the ground. I'm ready. So I think that was the important, to keeping through the game, keeping focus, because every single game is different. You might have nothing for half an hour, first half nothing, and then second half come out and you get 5 shots on the target, crosses coming in. So every game is different. But I think them 3 things, to just keeping focused, talking, moving the game, and then maybe just jump and like taking a cross. That's what I used to do. That's really helped me to stay in the game.
Insane. And I know, don't really want to remember it, but you can't help refer back to it when COVID was at its biggest, and the games used to be shown on TV, and you could choose to not have the crowd noise in the background.
Yeah. Oh, it's
horrendous.
horrendous.
I don't think you could appreciate until that moment how much communication goes on a football pitch. It's constant, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It was insane, because I remember this. Because I remember actually watching the Premier League at the time. I just joined from Luton. I think it happened in Luton, and then we were in Championship, and then it was the 6 months when we was about to stay up, and then it just obviously completely. But then when it restarted and stuff, I remember joining Mansfield, and then I always played in front of the crowd, and then even watching the Premier League at the TV at Sky, you can hear. Doesn't matter they play the noises behind after if they someone score, play the fans noises, but you can constantly hear just everyone's talking.
Yeah.
So you can really tell, when the crowd is not there, you've got defenders, keepers, midfields, all of them are talking as a group of 11, which I think in a way is, you've seen it maybe behind closed doors sometimes the games because when it's not fans allowed, but actually hearing it on TV and seeing it on Sky, yeah, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, I think I would say that was one of the worst part of football. I mean, just for me, like, you're saying you said before, try to stay focused. I mean, you had no people. It was just a couple of the security stewards around, and you kind of like, Jesus, you're looking around. It's like, yeah, I'm talking, but you make a good save. Sometimes the fans claps. You're like, oh yeah, go on. I'll make another one. Nothing. Couple of players say, well done, mate. Good save. It was just the worst period of time. And I remember playing for Mansfield, and they allowed only for two games to put 2,500 fans. And that difference, I remember I had a really good game to play against Cambridge United. I made a really couple of good saves over, and then that feeling when you make that saves and the fans go, whoa, or clapping, you really miss that. I mean, you can't go without fans and playing football or anything like that. It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played in front of big crowds before, but I've been in big crowds, and really, like, football is made by the supporters, isn't it? The passion, the bond that you have with your team, and like you say, the encouragement for your players. It must have been a pretty terrible time to be a player around those times. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of the worst there. You get the encouraging from the players and from the coaches, but you can even, like, if you do something bad and then the coach is shouting at you, it's like basically a training game, 11v11, just a practice game.
Yeah.
And he's going, oh, go on, kick it out, or whatever he's shouting at you. And it's like really like, just so weird not having anyone around. Hopefully that would never happen again.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been part of that, and 2 years in Mansfield, and the first victory I just joined in Mansfield. Normally you see some fans when you come out, you sign a contract, nothing. You go in a stadium, no one there, no one in the office. Everything locked down. So it was pretty weird. Like, I just signed this contract with this new football club, and then there's nobody around there. Obviously, you're doing your first interview, like, I don't know, 3-4 meters away, like wearing a mask or something, like, oh God.
Yeah, bizarre.
No, hopefully not. Yeah, bizarre. Hopefully that never happens again.
Yeah, man, definitely not. Mate, moving back to what you said that you played your football in the UK since 2006 mainly. And I know for this summer, you're back in the Czech Republic, kind of waiting to see what the next moves are for you. But when West Ham gave you the call, obviously everyone knows that all the Premier League clubs, they've got scouts all over Europe, well, all over the world, right? Looking for the best talents. As you said, when you were younger, you were looking up to the Premier League. You wanted to play there. Getting the call from West Ham must have been some moment for you.
Yeah, it was pretty special because I think at the time, I was only 17, and we had the European Championship in, I think it was, I think it was in Luxembourg. And then obviously I was the first choice. I played really, really well at that tournament. We beat Spain in semi-final, and I knew there was a couple of scouts and then games. I knew Ludo Miklosko, obviously the Czech goalkeeper coach for West Ham, was there, and we were looking at the games and stuff. And there was a couple of people from Spain, and I remember, we've just beat Spain in the semi-final. I remember reading a couple of the stuff online on, like, oh, there might be some interest for the keeper. So I was like, keep it steady. Obviously, we got to the final. Fortunately, we lost on the penalties against Russia. Honestly, I think two guys put over the bar or something. I saved one, and then the other one I think I saved the second one, and then he said, "Oh, you wasn't on your line."
Oh no.
Anyway, we lost, but it was crazy. Like, so we obviously came second, and then got back to Czech Republic a little bit of, I think, week or something, and then getting a call from like Ludo, and we'd like to really. I actually just finished, but obviously West Ham just started pre-season. We'd like to I was for Alan Kirbishley that time. He was a manager, Alan Kirbishley. No, actually, it was Alan Pardew
Alan
that time.
Pardew, yeah.
And it was with Flute and everyone. And I remember, yeah, we would like to see you. Really interested. Come for a week for training. So actually, I just done that tournament and then got on a plane. Went there. I think I'm staying in a hotel or something. Yeah, and done a week's training, and then actually got back and then said, yeah, they want to sign me. So it was pretty much like I just got back. I spoke with Ludo, obviously, in Czech because back then I couldn't really speak English. So he said, yeah, they want to sign you. So obviously back then spoke to my agent, and then we flew there and signed a contract for 5 years. And then, yeah, it was pretty special. Like it just happened so quick. European Championship, 1 week, like, couple off, and then you go straight over there, and then you fly back again to sign a contract. And then ones that I know, like within 2 weeks, I was training with them. And then also they signed Robert Green that season, Jimmy Walker, and then Carroll was there, I think, as well. He used to play for Manchester. He was there. So yeah,
Roy
it
Carroll,
was,
yeah.
Yeah, Roy Carroll, yeah. So it was just crazy. Like I'm just with this huge keeper. So I'm like, what's going on? I'm 17 years old.
Yeah, it's
So
insane.
yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I just had a little look at the under-17s player of the tournament when you and it said it was Tony Cruz, which just shows some of the
Wow.
talent that would have been coming through around that time that you were coming through as well.
Yeah, I remember. I think we played against Spain. I think it was Bojan.
Oh yeah,
He used
Bojan
to be.
Kirkic, yeah.
Yeah, Kirk. Yeah, Bojan. It was there, but it was a lot of the players I played. I think I wouldn't remember all the names, but I think a lot of them made. I think it was one of the keeper from Switzerland. He plays in Bayern Munich now. It was just so many after that tournament just left different ways. Went to Spain, went to Italy, went to Europe like Germany, and a lot of them made it big.
Yeah, insane. So what were your obviously I know it didn't necessarily go to plan for you at West Ham because West Ham, established Premier League club, they can kind of cut off the corridor, can't they? I'm being a Chelsea fan. I know how that works, right? You get the next best wonder kid, 17 years old from Brazil. But then 2 years down the line, you sign a player for 70 million in the same position, and that player's not got a route into the first team. So obviously, I think that probably happened to you at West Ham. But what did you take away? What are the things that you learnt from being at a Premier League club?
I think it was, for me, it was just a new learning curve in my life. Going to a different country, leaving all the friends and everything behind. But I think it was just insane. Like looking back, 17 years old, because obviously, Ludo, it was so great for me and actually taking me first in training straight away. I was 17 years old. I'm training with Roy Carroll, they're big guys, everything, training with them. Roy Carroll playing, Manchester United and such a big, huge names. But it was just so insane being there every day, turning up and stuff. But I think it was the first season I was training with first team, then going the development squad. I think it was the youth team the first season, still training half and half first team and that. And then the second season was getting in, training more with the first team, developing squad. But then it got the period when afterwards it was pretty insane because I was sitting because we brought one of the Czech guys, Jan Laštůvka. He signed 1 year long. So pretty much it was Robert Green, Jimmy Walker then retired, I think, or he was gone, and then it was the Czech fella and me. And then he got injured a couple of times, and I remember sitting, I'm going, well, you're on the bench. I was 18 years old. I'm like, okay. I remember we played Fulham at home. We won. And then second one was Harty pull away. It was a cup. But Greeny nearly got injured. I nearly came on. And then I think it was one more game. We played Arsenal or something. I sat on the bench. But then it was pretty special. But then that keeper kind of stayed in there, only played one game. I was constantly traveling everywhere. But the next season was different. He left. And they signed one other fella. So it was just me. It was Robert Green, me, and one of the Hungarian guys. So it was just 3 of us. I remember all the season I sat on the bench in Premier League. But Green never got injured. So for me, it was such a shame. But that season, I played 3 games in Carling Cup.
Wow.
Played Oxford, played against Stoke, and then we played one more. Sunderland. We beat Sunderland and then Stoke. And then the 4th game was quarterfinal. And they said I had a that was one of the things which I'm really disappointed. I had a clause in my contract: if I play more than 5 games, West Ham have to pay 1 million to Sparta Prague.
Right.
Which obviously that age, I was like 19 years old. Do we really want to spend, West Ham United £1 million for keeper? We don't know if he's gonna. So I remember Karen Brady came in and she goes to me, "Yeah, I think you are done at this football club because we're not gonna pay the cost for you." I was like, "Wow." That was my best year. Like I was like 18, just I think turned 19. I sat on a bench and every Premier League, Man City, everything. I sat on a bench. Got a chance to play 3 times for West Ham and then get the club or with the boys, get them to quarterfinal against Man U, and she just goes, "No, you're done here," because they were scared that if I play one more game and then something happens to Greeny, I have to come on. They would have to pay, and they didn't want to pay money. Back then, it wasn't the football cup. It wasn't as it is now, but it was very shame. It was like and that was the season. That was the second part of the season. I went on Burnley on trial. They were in Championship, and then obviously there was the loans. So I went to Yeovil, I went to Leyton Orient, and I went someone else. And obviously that season would finish, and then I had another year. But we decided to just cancel the contract, and then I moved to Yeovil.
Amazing. Like, what a story. And I never thought Karen Brady would be mentioned on this podcast, but she has been. So
yeah, mate, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just seen as well. So I'm pretty sure for your second year, Zola did he come in as manager? Yeah. What was he like to be a player under?
It was funny because honestly, I came in for the 5 years and I had every single season a different manager. So I had Alan Pardew who brought me in. Then I had Alan Kirbishley. Then I had Gianfranco Zola. Then I had Avram Grant.
Wow.
And then and then Avram Grant, and then I had some other guys. that would be the other one. Yeah. So Insane. That was the last one when I think we got relegated, and then I left them when they were in Championship, and then I left them. They got promoted back to Premier League. But yeah, Zola was the best. He loved the keepers. He was such a passionate manager, such a passionate. He would he would be in the gym before. He'd be doing his little warm ups. He was very passionate. Really, really with his heart. He wanted to help everyone. I remember he used to do session with the keepers, and he used to have the ball to practice with our feet. And it was me, Greeny, and one more keeper. And he would do a session we would finish, or before the training, or after training, he would stay there for half an hour. He would bounce you the ball, use your feet, 1 touch, 2 touch, get on your chest, play. We were there like every other day. And I remember even for Robert Green, I think it really helped him with his feet because he was the typical, English style keeper. But when I think Gianfranco Zola came in, he that contribution and playing with his feet, he got so much better as well.
Insane, mate. Yeah, and like having somebody like that around a team, I think it can go one of two ways, right? Because Zola was an incredible footballer, and that's not even coming from a biased perspective being a Chelsea fan, right? Everybody knows the talent that he had. And I think in teams, like you look at Lamps, who's my hero, having somebody who's like a legend and had unbelievable ability can make players go one or two ways, I think. Like, yeah, it's all right, mate, because we all know that you were good, but we're not that good. Or it can raise the standards. Did Zola do that to the West Ham team? Did he raise the standards a bit? Or was it a kind of a balance between the squad?
I think in a way, I think he did because, the way of the style he wanted to play, it was completely different than compared to the other managers we had there before. But he brought that passion, he brought a light, he brought a little bit. Some of the West Ham tried to maybe play from the back or do something different, and I could see the players got so much confidence and everything through being with him, training with him, and everything. I think, like I said, even for us as a keepers, he helped us with the feet and working on that kind of first touch, second touch. He's a legend anyway, so yeah, you see him play, and he was just incredible.
And amazing. And like you say, from there, Yeovil gave you the opportunity on loan, and I know you had a couple of other opportunities as well on loan that season, especially when you were told that you had no further place at West Ham. What else can you do, right, apart from go and find opportunities? But what was it specifically in that summer that made you go, do you know what? Yeovil aren't the biggest club in the world. They're probably not going to be getting into the Premier League anytime soon. but I'm going to choose them. What was the moment? What happened?
I think it was the most important for me was I knew the place, just being there for the months, and I knew how the football club, in this short time of period, how basically it works. It's a family football club. Everyone was lovely, really welcoming, and that really stayed in my heart. And the time I was there for that month, you know, and then they were really said, "Listen, come in here, you can play. You know, I'm gonna guarantee you, you know, if you do well, you're gonna be playing 56 games." Something like that. You know, at that age, I said, I think I was 21, 22. I think I need it. I haven't played, you know, I played, I don't know, 8 games a season or something, developing squad and friendlies. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going there. That was one of the moments I was like, yeah, straight away there. And also, you know, my wife and stuff, that they were from Bournemouth, so that kind of made it as well. She's closer to their family a little bit as well, so that was really special. But I think the biggest thing was for me being there before, knowing all the players, knowing the stadium, knowing the fans, and I think that's really stayed. And I said, you know, I want to come here, I want to do well, I want to play games, I want to play every single game, I want to stay fit and see where we can go. And obviously, how I end up is a history.
Yeah, exactly that. So 2 moments then. Obviously, the season goes by, you get to the playoffs, and you find yourself 1-0 down after the first leg at Sheffield United. And I was fortunate enough to be at the second leg at Hewish
How
Park.
was you?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah. And like
Crazy.
what a day. Incredible scenes and an incredible atmosphere. And I don't think, like, from a fan's perspective, even though obviously Chelsea first club, Yeovil second, like you could just sense the occasion. What do you remember about that day? Because there must be some things specifically you do remember.
Yeah, I remember obviously like richly. I think we played before that. We made just playoffs. I think we played at Stevenage, and we just made the playoffs. And we were all buzzing back on the coach. And we're like, I can't believe we made the playoffs. And then we looked, and it was Sheffield United. What a club! Like,
Yeah.
Jesus, it's gonna be like, you know, 17, 18,000, something like that. So I remember building to the game and doing the training, and then, you know, suddenly you've got the cameras on you, and it was such a huge bit. And I remember obviously the over fans, they sold all the back, so it was like over 2,500, which we just had incredible support. But it was the feeling like you're walking out. You know, there's a big playoff game, first leg. We playing away, I think, which was better. We played away.
Yes,
Um,
always.
you know, always I think away is better if you can get any result, or maybe losing 1-0. You know, you're playing home with your home crowd and that. But it was amazing walking out, seeing all the Green Army there, and then supporting 90 plus fifth minutes. The game, you know, first half, I think first half was 0-0, and then we conceded first 10, 15 minutes, second half, I think. But, you know, we kept it together. I think we had a good game plan. And, you know, we said, listen, we're not gonna we're not gonna leave here losing 2-3-0. Let's just keep that 1-0, which in the end we've done. And we said, listen, you know, going away, I mean 17,500, tough crowds, you know, great team, incredible team. We were like, okay, well, let's just do it at home, which, you know, we bloody sold out. People was everywhere. I remember that game was so special. I remember I still got it on a DVD, because I remember Stu done all the DVDs and stuff we got given. And no, the home game was the best for me. To reaching out, you know, Wembley it was insane. That small tiny club, family club, to do that in a you know, semi-final playoff and then go to Wembley, it was just incredible.
I think everyone forgets Dawson's opener in the first half, like to make
Yeah,
it 1-1 on
yeah.
aggregate, because the moment really goes to Ed Upson, doesn't it? With the cross. I don't
Paddy
know. I
Madden
don't remember
cross.
who.
I think it was. I think it was Paddy. Was it Paddy?
Paddy
Maybe
Cross, was
Paddy.
it? Yeah.
I think could have been Paddy cross from the side, and then you kind of see Ed like up in the air, like flying. Whoa.
Is
Oh,
it what
it's,
one of those moments? I mean, I was in the stand behind the goal, but from your end, you must have seen him up, and you thought, "Hold on, he's got a
yeah,
chance here, right?"
yeah. I could see, because obviously from the keeper side, from the other angle, I could see, you know, the other keeper is moving with the cross, and then I could see Ed. Obviously, he's up in the air, but he's, you know, he's heading in the other direction. So
Yeah.
I knew as he crossed in and he's up in the air, I knew he was going to go in. But it was incredible, because obviously Dawson scored, and first half I think they had like 2 shots on the target, which was okay, they were quite back, and then obviously second half, it was just pressure. You could feel it. Every minute was building. Like, oh, they had a couple of chances. I think I had a couple of saves, or tipped one over the bar or something like that. And then, that cross you could see it came in, and he had a great run in, and with the header. And afterwards, it was pretty much. I think it was like maybe 80th minute, lasting 10 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, I remember that was literally take your time, slow goal kicks, as long as you can, good areas, everyone back together, defending for your life. So, and then we did. It was just incredible. I remember, I think it was plus like 3 minutes. I remember like ball came in. I kind of knew, right, this is the last kick of the game. I had it. I remember Gareth Stewart and then Gary Johnson going, just put it out, just put it out of play, just right in the corner. I remember grabbing the ball and smashing it. It flew. So, and as I smashed it, the referee obviously blew the whistle, and then all the crowds came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just insane. And then, all the celebration and, reaching out at Wembley. And then I remember being at the dugouts, standing up. I think it was me, Jamie McAllister, and Ed Paddy, and celebrating with the fans. Like, it's crazy. It feels like yesterday, it's bloody 10 years ago. 11 years ago. It's insane.
Time goes so fast. And then one thing that you hear about in football and any sport, like you I don't know if you're into cricket, but the amount of work that goes into the Ashes series that's just happened, right?
Yeah.
And how they can continually keep going. At that moment, it must be difficult for a squad, right? Because it's such a big high. You've done the unthinkable. You've got to League One playoff final for like in a season where it was really unexpected. And then you've got none only than Brentford to prepare for. So after that moment, all the big high, how do you reset and go, right, lads, we've got to do this all again now? It must be difficult for a squad.
Yeah, it was really difficult because suddenly, you realise, we've got like 2 weeks to prepare. Normally the final was, I think it was 25th of May or something like that. Once you play the game, you've got 2 weeks to just get rest, get everything, have a 2 days off, and then, just rest your body, rest your mindset, and everything. And then we start preparing for that game. But I remember Brentford was really strong that season. I think, I think we won 3-2 or something like that. They were very, very decent side at that time. Very, very good players they had as well. And I remember going, we were actually training at the main stadium most of the period of the time. And it was so much into the details, how they play, what game plan we're gonna do, what structure, what formation we're gonna play, and every day you was doing obviously also like small side of games hard, but then you're doing your set pieces. So virtually the preparation, the 2 weeks before the final is so important that you know all the details and everything. But then you've got the build up, before you go to Wembley, there like 2 days before, you train somewhere close, then you go have a look around, take it all in, have another meeting. How many meetings we've had, and obviously when you're there and you've seen it all, and when you're seeing, we sold, I don't know, nearly 30,000 tickets and stuff like that, it's become a real. But that preparation, the 2 weeks, I think is difficult because I just done it with Mansfield as well, and it was tough because you at the final, it's like 2 weeks after that. So that 2 weeks period is really hard for your mindset and stuff.
Yeah. And then again, I think I need to speak to you about the day because obviously Wembley, from a perspective as an English football fan, I think when you're a kid, it'll never happen for me now, unfortunately, but walking out through the tunnel at Wembley, that new ground, incredible stadium. How was it for you? What was that moment like? Yeah,
I think just the self when you're on a coach and you get in front of Wembley and you see the huge stadium, like you kind of, am I really going to play there? Like, it's such a huge, just all the way around it. Yeah, just that first moment when you arrive on the coach, you're like, you take a little deep breath. You're like, wow, this is some ground. And then you go in the change room. But then obviously you were there the day before. So that's what kind of what I like was Gary Johnson said, listen, take a picture in there, do a little video, and then go in the change room, visualize yourself in there, sitting there, getting ready, being that mindset that for tomorrow, which all the players done. But when you get the game time, you do not do that. You don't start walking out, getting your phone out. It's not for that. It's you know, it's a concentration, it's a mindset. You need to be ready for the game. And which, to be fair, everyone's done that. And I remember walking off, being there, and just checking the grass before the warm up and everything, which was honestly coming out. You could see all the fans coming in and, you know, clapping. That felt nice. I remember them going for warm up. That felt even another 100% incredible, because suddenly you see maybe half of the stadium is full up for the warm up. But then that moment when you know, when you're getting ready and you're walking out, and that first moment when you stepped out and you kind of, you look up and you look around, you're like, wow, amazing. One of the best moments. Obviously, I'm so happy that playing at Wembley is just, you know, being so fortunate to be there, and it just incredible. That feeling, you never, you know, when you see that stadium, when you see the crowd, it's just insane.
Yeah. Can you hear the build up of the crowd and like the speaker over the microphone system, the tannoy at Wembley, when you're in the changing room? Or is it not until you get into the tunnel you can feel that buzz of the full stadium waiting for you to come out?
I think it's one of them. When you are in change room, when you step out of the big door, then you can kind of, when you're stepping out, you could hear the crowd because they sing in, you know, they go all their old songs and stuff. So there's also other people, but both of the fans, they sing into each other. So I think when you step out of the change room and you ultimately at yourself, you feel it. But then when you step out the tunnel, you step out on the pitch, it's a completely different. It's like I don't know, 200 times more, you know,
Yeah.
because you're there, suddenly all the crowds are shouting and stuff. Then you've got the thing, and then obviously the kickoff, and then you just kind of build yourself in a game. You never know how the game's gonna be, but you always kind of feel could be a little bit slower first, you know, however player will feel individually. But yeah, I just tried to stay calm. And I remember, I think we watched it with Mrs. a couple of days ago, the final. So pretty much know what happened. Like first half, you know, make a couple of saves, like nice easy saves and stuff, and kind of build you in. And I remember it's just had such a great game. It was so good. I remember all the players and obviously scoring one, and then Danny Byrne scored the second one, and it almost got given to James Hayter because he said he had a flick on it. And then I had I think two really important saves. I think the one probably for me stands out was the two second half after they scored. The one when from the corner, it's like a low down save, and then also the one when he was at the penalty spot and he turned around and it was like unexpected mid high shot. And then I kind of felt like after, because we've been through this quite a lot before, I kind of think 2-1, listen, we can hold on in here, we can hold on. And I kind of felt like with Danny Beck and Byron Webster being on the back, and they were really, really strong, solid defenders.
Yeah.
Very good midfield, very good strikers. I think we made a quite good substitutions as well. And then, we just actually stick to it. And I remember like it was over the time as well. It was like 2 minutes over the time, and you're just waiting for that whistle. And I remember when that whistle went, I just remember literally collapsing, crying on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the players coming out and obviously hugging and stuff. It was just incredible.
Like I remember, it gave me goosebumps thinking about it. It's some moment, and like hopefully one day Yeovil can claw themselves back up into that kind of area of football. But one thing that's like amazing when you look at your stats, obviously you've played at Wembley twice. You had some career in England, mate, didn't you? And was that playoff final must have been the highlight or one of the biggest highlights?
Yeah, I think it was. I'll give you probably 3 or 4. I think Yeovil was the biggest because of the way we have achieved the playoffs, and we beat Sheffield United, we beat Brentford in the final. And for me, it was kind of the first. My career just kicked on, because before I didn't play nothing. It was, a couple of games, nothing. But then that moment, I think that season I played 56 games, including the playoff, which I never did. 56 games, and then obviously winning, getting promoted to Championship, and then obviously getting man of the match as well at Wembley. It was just, it was just incredible, and that was really the start of it. And I remember, what we achieved. I remember all the bits afterwards. We went back to Yeovil, and then we had the open bus, and we made history. Like, Yeovil Town Championship, playing against huge clubs next season, and then obviously the next season was the Championship. But I had I went to back to obviously I went to Sparta afterwards, after Yeovil, and playing Europa League and,
Yeah,
playing
massive.
Champions League qualifiers, which was just insane. And played the Czech League. Unfortunately, for the 3 season, they just made a double. I won one of the cups, Super Cup, but we came second. They only just won a title now this season, last season. So
Yeah,
since I've been there, they've done a double. But obviously, after being a Sparta, then going back to England, Luton League Two again. So it's like with Nathan Jones, played every game, got PFA Team of the Year, and then got promoted to League One, and then we done back to back.
yeah,
So then League
insane.
One and then to Championship, and then I think Mansfield was a little bit different. I think through the COVID, and I had a manager who brought me in, and I played I think 26, 27 games, and then obviously they saw the manager. I played under the other one, and then he wanted to test something, and then the other season was more like a backup. But we still managed to go to Wembley. We just lost 3-0, which
Yeah,
which is a shame. But yeah, and obviously now it's just figure out now what is the next step. Obviously playing like at this football club at the minute, and then also want to do my coaching. And you never know. Obviously, I had a few offers. I wanted to go to England, but I think this stage of my career at the minute, kids being settled here, 5 and 10, been all my life since 2006 in UK. Obviously, even Mrs. She's English, so
yeah,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without Mrs. and the kids. I mean, I put them through some hell and up and downs, but I don't think if they wasn't there, it would be impossible. Like because they've been there, coming to watch every game, traveling. Mrs. through that League One season with Yeovil, she just got pregnant, so it was all she's gonna have a baby, not baby, and it was crazy. And then we had the COVID period, but I'm just so happy and so grateful that my wife and my kids been there for all that, and now my son is 5 and now he wants to play football, so he
amazing.
hasn't seen it. He can see on the YouTube and stuff, but he hasn't experienced it. My daughter did because she's 10. So yeah, it's pretty special. It's been a good ride. Hopefully it carries for the next couple of years.
Yeah, man. I think 34 is too early for a keeper, isn't it, to call it
Yeah,
a
I know.
day?
I always said I want to go like up to 40 and now, because I can see like Buffon and that, he's still playing. I can see the keepers, they still going 37, 38, and all of the different keepers you see, they might not play, but they still active. So I think I would like to, even if it's at the minute like a little bit lower league, to just stay active, keep playing, maybe get higher in the league again, because obviously been kind of year off, or I haven't just been training. So now our season starting pretty soon, and then just see where it takes you. Really, I honestly want to do my goalkeeping license and stuff, and work with, maybe create some goalkeeping school here and do something like that over here.
Amazing, man. I think before we wrap things up, I do have to ask you. Obviously, you were managed by Gary Johnson at Yeovil, and obviously again a complete Yeovil legend. I know obviously like sometimes he can be spoken about negatively by some Yeovil fans, but what he achieved was amazing. And then obviously going to Luton Town with Nathan Jones, you've been spoilt actually by some of the managers that you've played under. What strengths do they have, and why do they make such good managers in football?
I think just for me, when I got to Yeovil, I was with the completely different managers in Premier League, and they wanted formations, and it wasn't like that. With Gary, it was very simple. Like his formation, he said clear instruction what we're gonna do each game. We prepared. I remember even Darren Wade used to sometimes sit there and watch the games. If we lost, he made us watch the game for an hour, and we said, listen, you're gonna watch the game. I think we lost somewhere 4-0. You're gonna watch all of the game. But that's like the old style kind of thing. But in a way that it kind of help us. Everyone help us. You bite your teeth and you have to do it. But he was very, he was shouting, but he gets his point. Listen, don't slack off here. You do it, and then you get a reward. But he done that through all the period at the League One, and when we got promoted, and that pay off. Obviously, Skivo being at the football club, Darren being the football club, it's just such a part of the family. And them three work so well together, with the analysts, with Darren and Skivo, obviously helping the defenders, helping me. They were such a legends, and with obviously Gary, I think is he still at Torquay at the minute?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
quote me on that because I
Yeah.
don't.
And I remember he also, because we had a very good relationship, and obviously the next season in Championship, and then it was kind of the last bit. I kind of said, I have to be honest, like I want to go next step. But he was so kind, and even when I tried to get back to England, when he was at Cheltenham, he said he wanted to get me over. And then even that period now at Torquay, he wanted to get me. It would just not at the right time at my football career to go there.
Yeah.
But he was incredible. And obviously with Nathan, he was very, he did. I don't want to be obviously rude on here, but he didn't take nothing for granted. Come on, you do it right and that, and you could not be, play with him around. He was serious on the pitch, and he's serious as a manager. Because when I got to Luton, I've been there with Nathan for months, and then I play also against Nathan when he was at Brighton as the assistant of manager. When we got relegated, that game we got relegated from Championship back to League One. Yeah, I remember we actually got relegated. We played Brighton, and we got relegated at Brighton. And obviously Nathan come up to me, and then it was 3 years later, and then we just stay in contact. And then he said, "Listen, come to Luton, like great club, gonna do well." And he missed out on playoffs the season before, and that was incredible. 2 seasons, and now he left for Stoke the second season, and we was with Mickey Harford, which he was such a great person. But them 2 seasons back-to-back promotion for Luton, and now going to Premier League, it's insane.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, it is mad for sure. And then obviously on a final note, we've spoken about the fact that you've taken almost a little bit of time out and you're looking to move forward. What is when you do eventually hang the gloves up, Marek, what are the plans for you? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be a coach? Do you want to work with youth players? What's the future looking like for you?
I think for me, I always like to stay with. I like the GK Union. I like the fun part. I like diving about. I like all of that part, and I think I want to carry that on. That's what I'm kind of doing at the minute. I'm doing as goalkeeper coach, as a coach at the minute, play as a coach, and I would like to do my B license soon as, and I want to stay in football. Obviously, I was thinking doing a little bit of scouting and from here to the UK, but in a way, I don't feel maybe that will interest me as much. I just want to be out on the field. I want to do what I love. I want to help the young kids. It could be a youth team, start from youth team and youth for small kids, under 11s, 12s, 13s, and gradually go to the next level. Maybe take some of the power of the development squad over here, maybe at Sparta, because I've just got a great name at the minute. I did try to do that, but they've got all their stuff at the minute, so I might have to wait for that. I'll maybe be like a goalkeeper coach for the academy.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm going to play for the next couple of years. But in the meantime of playing, obviously looking for the future of being a goalkeeper coach and staying in the game. And obviously, ultimately, one day, maybe, if I do well, go back to the UK. See how long Mrs. and the kids will want to stay here, but they love it here. But I think, I would like to go that way and hit that way. That's kind of the next couple of years step.
Insane. And if you could, before we do wrap things up, mate, if you did have a word for the Yeovil fans listening, so I know there will be some, what would you like to say to them today?
Thank you for all the time I've been there for 2 years, and what we achieved has been so incredible. And I do miss you all the time. I do like the videos, and I do look at everything what we achieve. And I've seen, obviously, all your fans, the Green Army and everybody, you've been very struggling, and it's been very difficult for you for the last couple of years. Don't worry, I've been watching, and I've been kind of taking the same pain like you do. I would like to come down, and if I can, if we're down at Bournemouth to see the family, I would like to come down to the stadium and see the fans, obviously. But I think for you all lot at the minute, the football club is going to the right direction with the backup of the new director and everything. I think he's been incredible, working at the stadium and that, and can't ask for any more. So just be patient. But I love you all, and I thank you for the 2 amazing seasons I've been there, and you're always in my heart.
Insane, mate. Thank you so much. Marek, one thing that I've found since we made contact recently and booked this episode is you are a really easy person to work with. I can see why the managers loved you and they wanted to stick you in the squad. And genuinely, mate, you've been a pleasure to interview today. I can see your character coming through, your family side, the fact that you want to impact young players in the future as well is big. I think it's important for like professional footballers to remain kind of grounded, because you do see some of the youngsters these days going through and like getting a little bit arrogant and all those sorts of things. So mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Where can people come and find you if they do want to come and see what you're doing at the moment? Are you on any socials?
Yeah, I'm obviously on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, and I don't think I'm on Facebook, but anything I do through my DMs, if anyone wants to get text through my DMs, through my Twitter, I normally do a couple of posts and that, but Instagram is probably the main one to do with the coaching and stuff like that. But anyone who wants to out through Twitter or Instagram or anything like that, or through you, yeah, I'll be happy to help or to do anything.
Insane, mate. Insane. I do have one final question before we do wrap up. What is the greatest bit of advice you've ever been given during football?
I think for me it was keep believing what you're doing, never give up, and in the end it will pay off for you. I think a lot of the stuff, you see these young kids now at the minute, they're getting big contracts. Back in my playing, it wasn't like that. And sometimes they can get a bit arrogant and stuff like that. I just think believe your ability. Every day, try to do your best, work hard as you can, and in the end, it will pay off. And you will have up and down. It could be injuries. It could be your mental side. I had a lot of them, we never talked about it. Maybe we could do another podcast about the mental side. Very important at this stage of the life. A lot of players, a lot of footballers, the mentality. A lot of men, a lot of football players, they don't come out what they feel, and it's very sad. And I will be open about that anyway if we do another podcast, because it's quite important. But I think just a few words: just never give up, keep working hard every day. And then in the end, you will get a reward for that.
Mate, it's been so good to have you on. Today has been episode 111 of the 100% podcast with me, your host, Harry Purdy, and Yeovil Town legend, goalkeeper, Marek Štěch. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It goes a long way to helping the show. And if you do want to see more from me, make sure you click that subscribe button, and my new episodes will drop in your phone every Monday and Friday. Marek, say cheerio, my guy.
Cheers. See ya.
Cheers, man. Take care.